Call the meeting to order for the Village of Round Lake Beach. This is our board meeting for Monday, August 14, 2017. Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk.
Here.
Trustee Valdez.
Here.
Trustee Wallace. Trustee Butler.
Here.
Trustee Nichols.
Here.
Trustee Bennis.
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Here. Let the record show a quorum is present. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any additions or deletions or corrections for the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Valdez, second by trustee Husk. We have motion to second. Any corrections, clarifications, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved as written. So we have the council meeting minutes from July 24, 2017. Any corrections, clarification on those? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Butler.
Second.
Second by trustee Nichols. We have a motion to second. Any corrections, clarifications? Again, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. We have expenditures tonight for $374,502.71. Some of the larger items there are for the health insurance, a little over $122,000. We have the Orchard Lane Hook Drive extension through citywide title, purchase a piece of property for about $162,000. A lot of other smaller bills throughout the course of the month. The trustees have reviewed, staff have reviewed. Staff had no issues with any of those. Any of the trustees have any issues with any of the other bills? If not, is there a motion to approve the expenditure?
So moved.
Trustee, motion by trustee Bennis,
Second.
second by trustee Nichols. We have a motion to second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. We have no ratifications tonight, so we'll move on to our standing committee reports. Any of the trustees have any reports tonight?
Mayor, could I just, planning far ahead, could I let everybody know that the next household chemical waste event will be Saturday, September 30th. The announcement just came out earlier today. And that will be from 8 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon in Lake Forest at the Municipal Services Center, and there is no appointment necessary. So mark
Great,
your
those always
calendars.
great. Now, how do you close your statement?
Oh my gosh. Recycle first, trash last.
Okay.
Good job, Mayor.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot that.
Any other reports tonight? Okay, move on to mayor's report then. We do have recognitions tonight. I'll introduce the chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, I'd like to recognize Commander Rich Chirello, if you could come up here. On July 11, 2017, the village of Round Lake Beach and portions of Lake County experienced severe rains that produced a significant amount of flooding throughout the county. This level of flooding had not been seen in this area in over 20 years. The impact of this event affected not only a significant amount of our residents, but also affected residents from throughout the area. It caused flooding to homes and businesses, which resulted in significant property damage. This in turn required a large-scale cleanup effort by those people affected, as well as the need for additional resources by the village. As the waters receded and the toll of the flood became visible, it was your training, Rich, knowledge and experience in emergency management that became obvious and invaluable. Your ability to manage the needs and issues that could and did arise during this event became apparent as you began to act as the emergency manager for the entire village of Round Lake Beach. You began to coordinate efforts with not only our village departments, but also with Lake County Emergency Management Agency, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, and the Red Cross. You mobilized Mobile Eye to assist with distributing cleanup kits and were instrumental in arranging for the multi-agency resource center to set up in town to be able to provide assistance for flood victims from throughout the county. Not only did your performance help an unknown amount of victims, it was noticed by local and state agencies. Your great work was recognized by the Lake County Acting Emergency Manager, Kent McKenzie, Lake County Board Chairman, Aaron Lawler, and the Director of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, James Joseph, who I spoke with personally. During this time of crisis, your abilities to manage a situation of this magnitude became readily apparent, and it was quickly evident that this is truly one of your strong points. You are to be recognized for your actions and how They not only reflect positively upon yourself and the department, but how they positively impacted the lives of untold number of flood victims. Many times in these type of cases, the people that do the work that Rich does goes unnoticed. It's behind the scenes. They don't really realize how important that is. So, Rich, I'd like to thank you. Congratulations on a job well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Obviously, the village has been, I've been fortunate to have the village allow me to be trained in stuff like that. And it's the relationships that I've developed, like with Mike Jackson from Lake County Emergency Management, and having the ability to do it because my wife was at home packing all of my stuff for our vacation that we had planned the week after that. Not only that, but from the staff that we had, and you see that, you know, all of us, we get paid to do what we do, but it was Mobileye who mobilized in excess of over 200 hours of their volunteer service. So I'd like them to get a round of applause because they're truly the emergency managers that need to be recognized in stuff like this. Also, it was great to have the village available and the resources from the directors that we all came together, including Scott Hiltz, who spearheaded everything that was there. Lisa Puglisi, who we identified, as well as Kevin, and I sat down for at least a couple hours trying to figure out where we were going to pay for all this. But luckily, we had the resources available, that Mike Jackson and that relationship, that we were able to deploy those, as well as Administrator Kilbane, and where we were able to make the resource center that Chief Rivera said, hey, let's what about Garden Fresh? And there was a debate actually in the time of whether it was going to be in Waukegan or Round Lake Beach, and we kind of sat around and said, you know what, we had a lot of people that were displaced and could definitely benefit from this resource. So it was that opportunity that you allowed me to develop these great relationships that we have, that we were fortunate to provide a service to the residents. And I think we did pretty good in getting what we could out there for the people out there. So thank you very much, and thank you for being recognized.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. We all know it's easy to see a situation and think, oh, that'd be easy to take care of this, he just take care of that. It's not. When those things come up, you've got to know what you're doing, and Rich really knows what he's doing. He's able to take command, put things in place, contact the rest of the staff, all the other directors, and have them all work together to accomplish the goal of helping our residents in Round Lake Beach. And Rich, for that, will we be forever grateful to you. Thank you. And to your wife also for letting you spend so many hours and hours and hours here. Thank you. And you're all welcome to stay for the whole meeting if you care to. If you've got things to do, you won't hurt our feelings if we end up leaving. Is there a clerk's report tonight?
No, there's not.
Thank you all.
Okay, move on to our items of business then. We have item A, is an ordinance amending Title 8 of the Village Code regarding the rental program certificate of compliance. We're going to be updating our rental inspection program to encompass rentals regulated by other governmental entities that were originally exempt. When we put this in place, originally we figured that if a HUD or somebody else already regulating one of these rental houses, that we didn't need to step in. But over the years, we've noticed that yes, we do need to treat them all the same, and we're going to encompass them also now. Any questions by the board? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Trustee
Second.
Nichols, second by Trustee Bennis. We have a motion and second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Item B is a resolution authorizing and approving an award of contract to Leo J. Fox Trucking and Excavating, an amount not to exceed $15,960. We're going to be demolishing 2 more houses that are pretty much dilapidated and in really bad shape to help clean up some of our neighborhoods. This program's been very beneficial to many neighborhoods in our community. I know there's a lot of other houses out there that should be taken down. Unfortunately, we don't always have access to get those houses, and we do continue to put liens on them to make the owners fix them up whenever possible. But here's 2 more that are coming down. You do have a revised ordinance at your seats here.
Just, it's an updated independent contractors agreement. The substance is to update the insurance requirements, which were included in the bid package, I believe, and a couple other things because of a change in the law. So, sorry, but that's at last minute, but that's what we've got.
And they've done many other houses for us in town here, so I think we'll have no problem with this. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, trustee Valdez, second by trustee Husk. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Item C, as a resolution approving change order number 1 relative to the village's original agreement with Landmark Contractors Incorporated, an amount of $3,872.25. This is a project over on Sunset, turned out very nice, and the change orders came in at only about 1% higher than the original cost, which is almost unheard of. So I'm very glad that worked out that way. We had some items that were a little bit higher, some items were a little bit lower, but overall it was only about 1% higher. And it was a real nice project. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Butler,
Second.
second by trustee Bennis. We have motion and second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Item D, as resolution authorizing and approving an award of contract to PDC, an amount not to exceed $11,058. We need to sign a new agreement for testing of our drinking water. This is mandated by state law. We have a few different options to go to. They're local, and they've done a very good job for us. Any questions by the board? Oh, and they're the lowest price, too. Is there a motion to approve?
Second?
By trustee Husk, second by trustee Butler. I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Item E is an ordinance amending Title 10 of Village Code regarding connection to the village's water and sewer system. We extended the water and sewer lines to some areas of town that didn't have it before. It's been almost 10 years now since that time. And we let people have some time before they had to connect. Some people just put in either new wells or some new septic systems. But there's a lot of old ones out there still that have not connected. So we want to make sure we get those connected. We're going to be strengthening our ordinance to make sure that they do have to connect. It's for especially important areas near the lake that don't have the sewer service. Their septic system surcharge when it rains heavily and the effluent ends up in the lake, really polluting the lakes pretty badly in the channels. And we don't want our kids have to swim in that kind of effluent. So it's been 10 years. I think we give them plenty of time to use their old systems and move on to the new system now to stop the pollution. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Bennis,
Second?
second by trustee Nichols. We have motion and second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. Just as a point of reference, this is trustee Bennis's last board meeting. Trustee Bennis, thank you for being here so many years and helping us out, both on the plan commission and also the board here. We'll miss you, and best of luck out east where you're going. And I just finally got to know your voice from Sue's voice, so I could finally tell you guys apart. Now you're leaving.
That figures. Well, thank you, Mayor. This has truly been my pleasure, and I will miss each and every one of you.
Thank you for your time and your service to your families also. We do have executive session on the agenda tonight, but before that, it is open to public participation. Anyone who has a question or comment for the board, please come to the microphone, give your name and address to the record, and either state your comment or ask your question.
My name is Tom Lickwalt. I've been here before. This is in regards to my neighbor at 1532 Woodridge Drive. It basically covers several different things that's been going on at this house. Number one is their fence. I've called and complained about their fence coming down. I've had to support it, otherwise it's over into my property. I brought pictures to show you, in case you need to see them. I've gone over back and forth over this with Rose since January, and I just saw her again Friday to see what the follow-up was, because these people supposedly applied for a fence permit back in April. I shouldn't say supposedly, they did. And now they applied for an extension, and the reason why is because I noticed an unbelievable amount of water flowing into my ditch, coming from, I guess it would be their sump pump. All right? I kept on calling Rose, telling him, hey,
Can you clarify the ditch? You mean the ditch along the street or between your houses?
pardon me?
Can you clarify what, you said ditch? Is it the?
The ditch in front of my house,
Between the houses?
in front of my
Oh, in
house.
front of the house, okay.
Runs right along the road. Okay? I guess it's their discharge from their sump pump, runs underneath their driveway into my ditch. I don't know why it doesn't go into theirs, which would flow into mine anyway. But I noticed the smell since, basically since April. I went to Rose about it and kept on talking to her about it, saying, hey, you got to bring someone out and tell her, have someone examine this water. It smells, and I see suds in the water. I said, you want me to take an example or a sample of it? She says, no, it won't work. I said, well, you got to get someone to come out. Finally, they got someone to come out in June 23rd. They put dye in it. Again, I got pictures of the dye, everything, because I finally called Lake County Health Department.
Okay,
They brought also,
Who put dye in it?
your,
Our inspectors put dye.
one of your inspectors put it in.
Put in their sump pump or?
Evidently, there's like three, I guess, the Lake County Health Department called them crocks. I call them pits.
Okay.
One is a sump pump pit, which I guess is more to the back of the house. Then there's two others that are, I guess, in their so-called laundry room. And she called the one an ejector pit, and she didn't know what the other one was. This is the health department now. Okay? Looks like I got written down here, June 23rd, went to city and talked to Rose about green dye in the ditch, because I said, all of a sudden, I've been seeing all this green dye, and again, I took pictures. And we're not talking about a little bit of water. She said, well, don't worry. As long as it's green, you don't have nothing to worry about. If it turns red, then you have something to worry about. Well, I called Lake County Health Department, and I told what Rose said to me, and they started laughing, because there's no such thing as the dye turning red. It's either red or green. And supposedly when they did come out and do all this dye testing, they also had a plumber come out there and look at it. Well, I guess everything looks legit, supposedly. And I'm going to add here again, 2 years ago, the same thing happened. I noticed an unbelievable amount of water and smell coming into my ditch. Your guys went out, inspected it. Within a day or two, it ended. Now, it started up again in April or May or March, one of those days. All right. I finally had it, I don't know how many times I asked the health department, and I don't know how many times I asked the building code department to come out and look at this. I said, if you can't get someone to come out here and look at it, I'll take a sample. They said, no, because you might be compromised somehow or whatever. Lake County Health Department said, no, it has to be a sterile bottle. I said, well, then please come out, because the city isn't doing a damn thing about it. And it's coming out, and it's coming out in buckets. We're talking at least 20 gallons of water going into the ditch. It smells, and it's sudsy. Finally, they came out, and the woman that came out, her name was Gina, very nice lady. She went in and did her own little test. She said she ran 2 cycles with their washing machine. And that was worse. And she said, well, nothing's been coming out, has it? I said, no, I keep on checking it, nothing's coming out. And we stood there for about 15, 20 minutes talking. All of a sudden, all the water came flowing out. And she says, oh my God. She ran over, took a sample. She says, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Several days later, she called me back. Yes, there was soap suds and fecal matter in this water. So they told them to stop whatever they were doing, and I guess she finally contacted Rose and let her know what was going on. So now it's stopped. My major complaint now is with this fence. Again, I saw Rose Friday. I said, Rose, what's going on with this fence? She said, well, they applied for an extension. I said, what do you mean they applied for an extension? They signed up for, they applied for the fence permit back in April, and now you're telling me they're applying for an extension? She goes, well, this plumbing thing is going to cost them a lot of money. Well, they must have did the plumbing themselves, because I don't know how it's going to cost them all this money now. Because like I said, 2 years ago it started, then it ended after your guys went out there and inspected it, it ended. Then it started up again. So something's been going on in this house,
Same people have lived there the whole time?
pretty much, from what I can remember. But this is a revolving door with this place. Like I said, I've been here before because they were renting this place out as a duplex. All right, you and I had the discussion. You guys were afraid to do anything unless there's a solid wall between the upstairs and downstairs. You can't do a thing
Well, it's
about
not
it.
that we're afraid, it's legally we're prohibited by the
Well,
federal
I
government.
understand the situation. But I talked to a couple, when there were other people who were living there, there was a girl living there, and I asked her, I said, is that door going from the downstairs to the upstairs locked? And she goes, yes, they keep it locked all the time because we can't go in there. And this was two separate families living in the basement, two separate families living upstairs. And then I had the city went and told them, again, I got all the dates written down. They told them that if you put an exit window, that no one could sleep in the basement until they put exit windows in. I don't know why the city went and told them. They should have just kept their mouth shut, because since I moved into this place, it's been an ongoing problem with this house. At one time, there was 18 people living in this house. And before they put the exit windows in, there was supposed to be no more than 5. Now that they put the exit windows in, there's supposedly 8 people and no more. But it's hard for me to keep, because there's so many people coming and going. Plus, I got 2 cars parked there, one that's been parked there for 2 years. It hasn't moved. I've gone back and forth with the city and the police department about it. They finally said the last time they inspected the car, there's nothing they could do about it because they got legal stickers on it. I said, well, I don't know how they got legal stickers on it because it hasn't moved in 2 years.
A vehicle doesn't have to move to register it.
Pardon me?
A vehicle does not have to move.
Well,
to
I don't know.
register it,
It's an
yeah.
older car, so I don't know what they have to do for emissions. You still have to do emissions. It's a 1978 or early 80s car. And I just told Rose Friday now, I said it's got a flat tire and it's got a broken taillight.
Okay,
And
those
I
are
said,
issues
and
we
then
can
2
address.
years ago, it was gone for about 6 months. It was towed away, they brought it back on a flatbed. Towed in, towed out. Well, the thing is now, I'm upset because it's, and then I asked Rose too. I said, I'm worried about this fence because they got 2 pit bulls. I have a German Shepherd. And I compete with my dog in competitions. Well, now there's one pit bull is very aggravated with my dog, and at one time she even broke a piece of the fence off trying to get to my dog. And I told the guys, if the dog ever comes through, I'm going to kill it. And I said, Rose, I would like to put up a temporary fence. She goes, no. I said, what do you mean no? It'll be a temporary fence just so till they get this thing fixed, I'll take it down. No, you can't. I said, I don't understand why. Because it's not going to be a legal fence. I said, well, what if I put it up? We'll have to fine you. Yet I'm a legitimate person trying to do good for my house, and these people, constant crap going on there, and I'm going to be fined if I put up a temporary fence to protect my dog. And again, I got pictures to show you how dilapidated this fence is. I got 6 metal fence posts holding this thing back so it doesn't fall into my property. And it's on a 2-foot, I gotta show you. This is on a 2. This is the thing.
Why don't you wait to speak until you get back in front of the mic? If you want to hand that.
This is just one example. I mean, you can look through all of them. That's from the wind causing that, from the fence flopping back and forth. It finally broke the concrete. It's on a 2-foot retaining wall. I spoke to a concrete guy and asked him about why this fence or that concrete retaining wall would break like that. And he says, if that concrete retaining wall doesn't go down the same depth as you would normally put in a normal fence post, it's going to crack. Almost every place where there's a fence post, both for the stockade fence and then the front part of it is chain link, it's cracked all the way down to the base. Every one of them, just about. And if I want to put up a fence, I'm afraid to, because I don't know how long that retaining wall is going to last. Then I finally found my plat of survey. And here's the other kick. That retaining wall is 4 inches over on my property. And your inspectors inspected this thing going up, the inspection for the retaining wall and the fence. And
How long ago was that put in?
2004.
Oh, is that new? Okay.
Margaret Spar was the one who was the final inspector. If you look at the fence, it's the improper fence, according to your rules and regulations for fences. Your fences call for a 2x3 cross piece. That's a 1x3 cross piece. I got the final inspection report coming from Margaret. There's 3 things I can only think, and I asked Rose. I said, here's 3 scenarios. 1, Margaret's friends with these people, so she ignored it. 2, she got paid off, or 3, she never did the inspection. Take your pick. Which 3 was it? Well, I don't think it was the other 3. Well, then how did it get passed? How did a cheap fence like that pass in the first place? When I put mine up, they came out and inspected mine.
Now, have you spoken to anyone else in economic development besides Rose about the problems you've been having?
No. I figured she's the head of the department. And generally, Rose is okay, but even when I went in Friday, I brought up her comment to what she told me about the dye turning from green to red. She goes, I didn't say that. I said, Rose, I got my notes right here that I took when we had the conversation. I never said that. I said, you did. And also in those pictures, you'll see a silver car that's been parked out in the front. And I forgot to bring the officer that came out and looked at it, because they got a red Mustang with an exhaust that's super loud. And the guy parks it all the way back up, all the way far as back as you can, right underneath my bedroom window. And he starts it up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, when the cop came out and took a look, he said, well, he says, there's nothing I can do about it unless I hear it. I said, tell him to start it up. He says, I can't do that. He says, but I'll keep an eye on it. I'll watch and see. But I told him that silver car's got to be updated or it's got to be moved. And what they do right now, they back the silver car in. I can't even see the plate, so I don't know if they updated it or not. And I called the officer last night. Of course, he works the midnight shift or the late shift. And I asked him to call me back. He didn't. And I now understand the police got more important things to do than do stuff like this. But the building code inspectors pass it off to the police pass it off to the building inspectors.
Well, if you can stick around for a couple minutes when we're done with our beginning meeting here, we'll try to get you to talk to some other people in the room here, see if we can get this thing resolved, because that,
But I'm
Sounds
not, if I didn't keep on calling the health department, this wouldn't have got resolved. It would have been ignored. And this has been an ongoing problem with these people. And it irritates me now that I found out that retaining wall is over on my property in 2 different places, between 2 to 4 inches, when that should have been inspected when the thing was being put in.
yeah. Yeah, you're right on that, it should have been.
So I told Rose, if they have to redo this retaining wall, and when they put it up, the neighbor couldn't speak English, so the guy that was putting it in came over to me. Seemed like a nice guy. He says, can we come on your property and put this retaining wall and the fence up? I said, yes, as long as you clean it up. No problem. They did. But then 2 weeks later, they put in their driveway. I come home one day from work. I got all this equipment from the road all the way up to my front porch. I said, hey, get that stuff off my property. The guy says, yeah, when we're done. I said, no, you're not. I said, get it off my property now or I'm calling the police. They did. I come home the next day, same damn thing. These guys got his equipment up my whole front yard, all the way up to my front porch. I had to call the police on that one. You give these people an inch, they take a mile. And that's why I'm irritated, I'm fed up.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments, and like I said, if you have a few minutes as we're done, we'll close this before we go into executive session, then we'll have a quick discussion. See if we can get your information together and get it resolved. Any other questions or comments for the board tonight? Let's say we do have executive session for probable pending litigation, land acquisition, executive session minutes, and personnel. Do you have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved?
Motion by trustee Nichols,
Second.
second by trustee Bennis. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
That's approved 5-0. We will be in executive session. We may or may not have any action on the items when we're done. You're welcome to stay, but it's not required. Thank you.
Ever since they redid that road, my drive continues to flood. We got a heavy rain. Yep, because of the way they did the road, and also from Gulfview, they opened up that ditch in front of that house, that was around that house. They opened it up, they put 2 new culverts in the next 2 driveways. Under 1532, they didn't, and then they didn't do mine. So that, well, what they did with mine, they had to come out and rod mine out. And now you can see, they rotted out, and it's like this, but my culvert, I mean, is, and we're in one of the lowest sections in that road. There's a low spot. Yeah, and if it wasn't for my neighbor, if they didn't open up their ditch in front of their house, it would have been worse. She's one of your town clerks, by the way. Didn't he? So that's a cutoff. So then that's how they get away with it. I kind of figured could be.
So the problem is if you cannot see the license plate, you have to assume that they're innocent until proven guilty. That applies even for something as simple as a license plate. So I cannot make the assumption that it's expired and you go on their property to go look at it.
Well,
Right? So that's a tough one. As far as the cars go, also with the exhaust, based on the proximity of those houses, his exhaust or their exhaust doesn't necessarily have to be very loud to be a nuisance. And that's, you know, those driveways in the houses were built, not necessarily so somebody would turn their car on right next to your bedroom window, but it's the way the houses have been were made years ago. Unfortunately, they should have been, you know, all the way up or all the way back.
Well, again, it's, this, I got, I'm so upset. All right. I got called, a restraining order against me back in June, okay? I thought it was because of him. Ends up, I got the report here. The woman that lives there, supposedly the guy's sister who drives the Mustang, she said that I was threatening her 3-year-old kid. All right, it all had to do with the kid with the Mustang, because as soon as I filed a complaint about the Mustang, dropped the scream out, 2 days later, I get a Lake County cop knocking on my door, said, here's a restraining order, you're not to do this, not to do that. Went to court, even the judge saw what was going on, it was retaliation, because I didn't know what it was about. I thought, and I said to the judge, I said, about the kid, and she goes, no, that's my brother with the Mustang. I'm trying to give you examples, and so.
Sure.
Okay.
But when it comes to, I always say this, when it comes to the thing about the car, that's gonna be difficult when you have houses in such close proximity. Because the way the houses are laid out, unfortunately, prior to you, I mean, unless you're the original builder, prior to you, the layout was probably not best suited for
I
an
wish-
all-year-long community.
I forgot to bring the officer's name, came out, very good officer, very polite, very nice, and it was around 11:30, because what happened was, the guy pulled, this is his 3rd, 4th time, the guy pulls the Mustang all the way up, and then they parked another vehicle, 2 vehicles behind him. And I said, he's doing this just to be a jerk. Let me finish, because then what he does, pulls them back in. I said, there's no reason, I mean, if you know you're gonna be leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I would just tell you this, and I caution you this, what you see to be him doing as a jerk, my guess would be if he feels he's got a nice car, he wants his car.
It's junk.
Well,
It's a picture, the pictures, you can see it.
My '92 Mustang's missing all kinds of trim work. The beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think it's a beautiful car. My neighbors probably don't think it's the greatest car in the world. I think
Well,
it's
well, you know, he's finally getting a little bit smarter, we're starting to park it more towards him, but there's no reason for him to pull that car all the way up.
But their lack of logistical ability doesn't necessarily mean that they're purposely trying to egg you on. So I would say as far as vehicles go, I can tell you this much. When we see a car that we believe to be inoperable or missing registration, man, I can tell you, show up to one of our adjudication hearings. You'll see 100 people out here who say, wow, the police give no one a break. We will gladly take care of it. So if we haven't done it, it's because we don't see a way to do it. Because if we see a way, I guarantee you we'll get it done.
Deputy Chief Scott came out, again, I got
That's
my
it right
notes.
there.
You know, we talked.
Right.
He came out and he inspected the older car. He told them, either get it registered or move it. They did. Okay.
Then we're good.
Oh, I didn't know about the
Yeah.
emissions. So, well, now again, since he's been out, I don't know how the tail light got broken, unless the fence
Right.
flopping back and forth broke it, and it's got a flat tire. It's inoperable. And again, it hasn't moved in 2 years, and I don't think anybody there owns it.
Well,
And I
but
don't
someone
think-
does because they got registration.
I think it's a guy that lives across the street, or older guy who lives across the street.
They might be renting the spot to someone else.
That's what they're doing.
But that's not the, that we're going to, it's one of those things that, there are certain things that are nuisances, but they are not constitutional things that we can remedy. So as far as the vehicle goes, all I can tell you is if we go up and down there, if we catch one, we'll get it, as evidenced by the amount of people that come here to complain about how many times the cars have been. Even if they put a tarp over, we're like, that's not a cloak of invisibility, we still see there's a car. So we'll get to it. So I would say right now, that the situation with the cars, as far as how close they are to your bedroom and stuff like that, that's something we're not gonna be able to remedy, because that's just the design of your lots. However, the other stuff you're talking about, you could speak to Lisa.
Well, I'm gonna quote your own, thing here. It shall be unlawful for any person to create noise or emit sound or allow a cause of creation or emission thereof, which is unreasonably loud, disturbing or unnecessary, and is in such character, intensity, or duration to be detrimental to the quality of living of any individual or neighborhood.
Right.
My quality of living, it's disturbing my quality of living.
No, but it's gotta be reasonable.
It isn't reasonable.
Well, no, but reasonable is an objective thing that's placed along the general reasonableness, not your reasonableness. I would say that your reasonableness, if you have a bicycle that goes bling, 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 too loud, then that's too loud. I say that that's no good. I say that your German Shepherd in the backyard barking is too loud. I don't want it there. Imagine I didn't have any dog. I don't want it there. Well, you would say, well, wait a minute, sir, obviously my German Shepherd was out, he may or may not bark, and he may bark once. I'm like, once is one too many. That's not reasonable. You're hurting my quality of life. That's just the same argument you have. So you can't do that. It has to be reasonable. A car starting is reasonable. Someone sees it going,
And he's done that too.
if it's an older car, you gotta warm it up. But I'm talking about that they're doing it purposely. It's all about intent. Intending to, if he's laying skid marks out of his driveway, that's different. That's not reasonable.
That's when,
But just turning on your car, and it being a little bit older, clunker, we have to be reasonable. We don't live in Lake Forest, people aren't driving Mercedes. They're driving good, domestic, quality, blue collar.
Other cars, you know.
It's getting ridiculous along my road there, and I'd even, when the
But that-
when the police had come,
Sure.
I said, you know what, I'll allow you guys to park in my driveway if you want to, because these guys, they're taking off from Goff Mill, racing all the way to.
I get that complaint every day, and all I tell people is this, there are over 30,000 people in this town.
Yeah.
You have a 40-person police department, of which not all 40 police officers
Okay, I
work.
guess
every shift.
until someone gets hurt.
No, absolutely not, absolutely not. But right now, as we speak right now, 5 people have blown that stop sign outside Edward. But I didn't get them, you know why? Because we can't get 100% of all.
I understand that,
We
too.
get as many as we can, right?
I understand
So we
that.
gotta prioritize and look for that quality of life. So all I'm saying is that's a far, you're extending it way beyond your property to a general problem throughout the area. And all I'm saying is, let's talk about your property. That's where we want to focus and get you taken care of. What's happening on Gulfview or something like that, you're beyond your property. That's also happening on Lotus. It's happening over here on Wildwood.
Sure.
It's a general thing. It's happening in Gurnee.
Sure.
So let's talk about the median. So as far as the vehicle and stuff like that, trust me, if we see see the car is outside of its registration, or it's dilapidated to the point where we believe it's inoperable, then by all means, I'm not gonna crawl through cars to get to it, because it also has to be something I can see from the road. Because I am only allowed to enforce from what I can see from the public right of way. I'm not gonna fly a drone back there.
No.
I'm not gonna climb through people's
No.
fences. So that's where we at. So the other areas though, you would wanna speak with either Public Works or Economic Development.
All I can say is Officer Scott went back, he did, because there was another vehicle at the time, and that was, I think, had false or not false, but wrong.
It was expired by a month.
Expired, and they finally did tow it out. But he did go back and look at them, and he told them, and I appreciate it. I
Well, see,
don't-
that, different, it was expired, we have a reason, and we'll take care of it.
But again, you guys can't
But those
see
are-
from the road unless you guys go back and look at it. But I had to file a complaint.
Well, we have to have a good enough probable cause to go do that, because at the end of the day, if we do something wrong, you are not going to pay our lawsuit. So we have to be careful
I
that we follow the
understand that.
Constitution, right?
I understand that.
So we're very big on property rights, just like yours. So I think that you also have, to me, the vehicle thing may be something that does bother you, but the other things you talked about are way more, as far as infrastructure, as far as, those are bigger issues. The fencing, the property, you're saying that there's a property violation,
Yeah.
that the police department's not gonna involve.
No, I know you're not, I know.
But those are things that I think that you would focus on, because those are things that are not subjective. Either they're over the property line or they're not.
Well, I brought up
You see what I'm saying?
his car issue because this guy also in the wintertime, he starts to sing up, and you know, let me finish,
Yeah,
please.
it's gonna
You
happen.
know when the exhaust is cold,
Sure.
you know,
It
it's
takes a while.
strict. And then when he starts up, that thing sounds like a cannon going off.
But it's reasonable because people.
He
start-
sits out there and lets it idle for 15 to a half
But
hour.
it's reasonable because people start their vehicles in the wintertime.
For 15 minutes to a half hour is
If you want to
ridiculous.
waste the gas,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
but I
It
would say.
wakes me up.
I would say, speak with Lisa and Scott concerning the other issues, if there is something that can be done.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take this in chronological. 2004, I do not know what, if the fencing regulations have changed. Now, if the retaining wall is on your property.
Well, I wish I kept it, because when I put up my fence, and I want.
Well, let's focus,
Well,
okay?
let me explain something too, so you know where I'm coming from. I thought, or unless I got the information from my neighbor, I thought the fence had to be 3 inches back from the property line. That's why I was gonna come and see if the records back then were either it was, had to be 3 inches past on your property side. Because when I put up my fence, I put it 3 inches inside my property line.
Okay, so the other, again, I don't know what the regulations in 2004. Now, you're saying the retaining wall is on your property?
Yes.
Do you have the pictures of the tables?
They got the pictures.
I'm not sure about this, I need to check into it, okay? But I believe that is a civil matter between you and the neighbor. You would have a right to ask them to move it, but I think that's a civil matter, that's not
Well,
something we
let's
would
put
get
it this- let's
involved
put
in.
it- let's put it
But I
this
need to
way.
check on that, but I
You
believe that's
guys,
the case.
you inspectors allowed it. What's the point?
But, okay, this was 2004, we can't go back, so let's look at
I
where we're
can,
today. I'm
because
trying to find an answer for you. I'm trying to find an answer for you today, because we can rehash what happened in the past, but today is today. So if that retaining wall is on your property and you don't want it there, you have
Well-
recourse in the courts to
Well,
have them
well,
move
here's the
it.
deal. I'm out of work. I don't have a job right now, and I talked to a lawyer already. And he said it would cost me big money to go to court on this. And he said, and I wouldn't get nothing out of it. Okay? And
I don't know that, I will check, because I'm not sure. I don't know that we have the power to make them move it.
Well, there's another picture that shows you where it actually broke away. I'm afraid to put up a fence, because if this retaining wall is gonna keep on crumbling and breaking, what's gonna say that's gonna ruin my fence? And I'll show you, there might be a section of the fence I had to put up, because they didn't go all the way. Here's my fence right here. Because for some reason, they only went up so far with the stockade fence, and the rest is chain link. And and without me paying for another survey to find out where exact property lines are, I went off my plat of survey.
You would absolutely to do this.
I went off my plat of survey. I went to Dietz, the guy who did the measurements, and I had him give it to me in feet and inches. And I measured it from my house over to the property line. And originally, they didn't have a retaining wall here. It was, he called a block wall. What it was I-beams. And then they put, railroad ties in between it. And when the house went vacant, before these people got it, I made a stipulation, whoever buys this house, they have to replace that wall, because it's leaning 8 inches over 8 to 10 inches over my property at the time. And it was a timber wall, okay? The timber wall didn't go all the way back. It was half timber, only went back so far, and then the rest.
Measured from the corner of the property, 5 feet from the edge, 5.3 inches.
Yep, and he gave me this 5.3 and a half, 6 inches and what, 3/8. I measured it, and it's 6 inches over my property line here, 2 inches here.
This is from 2000. Again, I do think I don't know that the village has the authority to make them move it. I mean, it's my understanding that that's a civil matter, but I will check into it.
Well, let me ask you this, if this retaining wall is crumbling and breaking, what's gonna be done about it?
Well, I can look into that if the retaining wall is in disrepair. That is something I can look into, okay?
And like I said, I talked to a concrete guy, he said, in order for this to be put in correctly and for that not to crack like that, he said this would have had to be put below the frost line, just like you put in a fence post.
Okay, that
And then another thing I talked to about, I said, then they built the fence post into the concrete wall. He said, for the wood post, he says it had to be at least, I think he said 4 inches on each side to be done correctly if they put it in.
Again, this is something I can look into.
Okay, I'm just telling you what he told me.
I know, but honestly, I don't have that technical knowledge, so I need somebody to go out there who does have that, and to look at what's, if it's in disrepair, if it was not put in correctly,
Well,
that kind
your
of thing.
building code people didn't have the technical experience until I called the health department and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it.
Okay,
Because
that's
they
a
were gonna-
different matter,
Well,
though.
I was gonna let, they were gonna let it go.
We're talking about a different matter,
All right?
correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got pictures of it too.
Okay, so the retaining wall, okay, we've addressed those two issues. I will look in to see if we have any authority about the wall, about moving the retaining wall. I will check about the retaining wall being in disrepair, because that's something we can do something about. Now, I do recall hearing about the suds and so forth, and it's my understanding that it's been taken care of.
Well, because of the Lake County Department, yeah, they put a halt to it.
Okay, so that we're good on. The other issue I would need, getting an extension on a permit is a very, very common thing. And they do have a right to a certain
I
number
understand
of
that, and
extensions.
I got really, basically, Rose and I, when we talked, I had no complaint about her personality. We seem to get along. She seems to listen. The only time we got into it, when she denied this comment, where she told me, when it turns red, then you got something to worry about. She denies. I said, you told me it, Rose. But anyway, where was I going with this now? This was an ongoing problem 2 years ago, and it ended. So something's been going on. These people know about this, whatever they did, to make it happen again.
Well, I'm very glad it's resolved, and if it happens again, we'll know to get the health
Okay,
department out there immediately.
Oh, then when I did go talk to Rose earlier on too about the fence, I think I talked to her in June, again, I have to look at my notes. I said, what's going on with the fence? They got a fence permit. She said, yeah, it was in June. She says they got till the end of July to do something about it. Okay, so they had April to the end of July to do something about it. They didn't do a damn thing about it. And if I didn't put these metal posts in to hold this thing back, this kept on blowing over. That's what kept on flopping and breaking the concrete. Every place there's a fence post, it's cracked.
Well, again,
There's a junky Mustang.
they
you know,
are
and this,
entitled
this,
to an
and that's the other
extension.
car that hasn't moved in 2 years. And it didn't move 2 years before that, and I guess because they didn't know anything about getting, plates upgraded, they had it towed away for about 6 months and brought it back, towed in.
Now,
It's legal.
if they ask for another extension and it doesn't seem reasonable, that's something we can do something about, but asking for one extension is very common in all kinds of.
Well, I said to Rose, I said, they're probably doing it, I said, they're probably using it as a stall tact. And she said, probably. On that silver car's the other one that your officer came up with, that they have to replace. She does know.
She's going to let him know that.
Call the meeting back to order for the Village of Round Lake Beach for our August 14th, 2017 council meeting. We're out of executive session. We have no action on the items. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Dennis.
Second.
Second by trustee Butler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
You can't tell us apart now. You can't.
I know.
I finally got it down.
I know. You're right, Mayor.